Hello, you welcome to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on Hallelujah 1600 KATZ. Good morning, St. Louis. This is a beautiful Saturday morning, and we are in the house. We are in the house. So as usual, Mayor is on special assignment.
Always on special assignment.
Always, and so we have Brother Shaheed in the house with us.
Good morning, Senator. I always tell brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. This is a good morning because we got so many things we're going to be talking about this morning. It's going to be an exciting morning, but it's hot out there. It's hotter than hot out there today.
It's hot, period. I'm hot sitting here.
Well, it's supposed to be hot for the next 2 weeks. It's supposed for the next 2 weeks, so they got to make sure they drink enough water and do the things they need to do and put a hat on your head or umbrella or something, whatever you need to do. But what about, who else we got in here?
We got Sister Secretary over here in the house.
Good morning, St. Louis.
Wait, hold up. Y'all going a little too fast.
Felicia.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning,
Yes.
Sister Secretary.
Listen, guys, we need you to head on over to our Facebook page before the show even gets started. Make sure you like, tag, share, and follow us on Facebook. I almost messed that up.
Share it, tag it, and follow.
follow.
Like it, share it, tag it, and follow it.
Yes. Make sure you do that. And then we're also on YouTube. So make sure you follow Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on YouTube. Follow the Tahid Youth Group. Make sure you follow Senator Carla May's page because, she's doing great things.
Well, you're going to go all the way when you would call. Come on, y'all
have
like
to get
y'all
the page
abbreviating
right.
everything this morning.
No, we not abbreviating.
Well, I can't tell. I feel like starting
Listen.
setting some of my bars in here, and y'all going to y'all double teaming me anyway.
Let me
But,
start out. Let me
do
start
we have
over.
a guest as well hanging out with us, or are you going to introduce our
Well, I'm
guest?
going to let you do it, Senator.
No, I'm going to let you do it.
Okay. Well, I'm always honored. He's acting like a co-host here today, but Brother Juma Muhammad, one of the most brilliant minds it is in the world. I don't say in America, but in the world, is here with us this morning. And I'm looking at a couple of books right in front of me that he has that I was going to ask him to bring, but he brought them this morning. And it's Understanding the Crisis of the Black Male. And he also has the one with 100 proven effective. So in other words, it's proven and effective strategies for empowering black boys. So, Brother Juma, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Shaheed. I'm honored by the grace of Allah to be here. And I pray to Almighty God, Allah, that He bless my tongue and hopefully say something that will inspire and motivate our community.
Allahu Akbar. So,
Absolutely.
Senator, before we start getting to a few things, you were just telling me off the air about the situation with Captain Dawn.
Absolutely.
Early this
So,
week. This
yeah,
week.
on Wednesday, they found the gentleman, I think his last name is Cannon, guilty of first-degree murder in the murder. I think everyone remembers Captain Dawn
yes,
down at the
yes.
Lee's Pawn Shop
Oh, yes.
doing a protest rally. We had some looters that went in, was looting the place, and I think Captain Dawn made it fired warning shots in the sky, but someone shot him, and I think they said in the paper they shot him 10 times,
That's
but
deep.
that person
That's
was
deep.
found guilty, and the prosecutor in the case was Judge Marvin Tier.
That caught me off guard because for the longest, that's what I knew him to be, an attorney. That's what. And when I heard you say that was, and I'm thankful because he's sharp and he's got it going on, to be honest. So all praise due to Allah. But that was first degree, right?
Yeah, they found him guilty of first-degree murder and several other charges. So, this happened in 2020 after the, at the time they were protesting.
Was that Anthony Lamar Smith?
I
think that was
think.
yeah,
no,
Yes, I believe it was
Was it
Anthony Lamar Smith.
Lamar
Yeah,
Smith?
2020. I
Yes.
think
I'm
that's Anthony
making
Lamar.
sure,
Anthony
you
Yes, it
Lamar
was. Was it
Smith.
the verdict that
I
came?
think they said it was destruction follows a protest over. I think this was George Floyd.
Was that George Floyd?
Minneapolis
Okay.
killing of George Floyd.
Well, you know
Yeah.
something, you're probably right because I
And
think
because this was in 2020.
2020. Okay, yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Okay, well, I'm standing to be corrected. I'm good. But whatever it was, you don't have no reason to go kill somebody. Why would you shoot somebody 10 times?
And why would you shoot him? Period. You the one.
Period.
Yes.
You are the one stealing.
Right.
And so that brings into mind his book, Understanding the Crisis of the Black Male, because this was a young man. These people, these young men. I know me as a mother want to say babies, but these babies got guns now.
Yeah,
So what do you do? And it's a crisis when you 20-something years old, 26 years old, and that's on your mind. You get me?
Captain
It
Dawn.
wasn't a threat to you.
No, because you shouldn't have been in there.
First of all, you shouldn't have been in there, but at the same time, they said he was crouched down the street, and Captain Dorn was in front of the store. So,
And you remember the young guy who stayed with Captain Dorn,
Yeah, I
and
remember
we
that.
talked about him really heavy on the show at that time when he stayed with him
The whole time.
the
And
entire
like,
time.
tell me, hey, you're going to make it. Come on. He was trying to talk to me, even though he's seen him,
Yes.
he seemed like he's going to leave the world, but he was like, hey, I'm here with you. It's going to be okay. And he took his time. And remember, the way he did it, it was so impactful.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
It was so impactful that it really just shook everybody. So,
yes.
But I'm glad you brought that out, Senator, because Captain Dawn was a real good brother, like I say. And I say it all the time. And Brother
Yes,
Joe, we
he
always
was.
say, we're not against police. We're against bad police.
Absolutely.
So to sit and say that you got a problem with all police, when that's your problem. Whatever problem you got, that's okay. But I'm trying to figure out, how did having a problem with police have something to do, the George Floyd and what happened to him, how did that have something to do with you breaking into place?
Right. I don't
See,
understand that
well, it ain't
either.
nothing-
If we're protesting and we're protesting this issue, where does the looting and the stealing come in? And like I always said, those people that was looting and stealing, they took advantage of an opportunity because
Crimes
they
of
were
opportunity.
thieves. That's right,
Absolutely.
crimes of opportunity, because they were thieves in the beginning.
Yeah.
That was
Absolutely.
just what it was in the beginning.
And what happened too is people kind of get across the two, looters and protesters, and they're two totally different situations that we're talking about.
Correct.
But sometimes people lump all of that together, and we shouldn't. It's
they
always
wanna
best
lump
to
it
educate
together.
the community.
They want to lump it together because it's a difference between the two. I was the first thing I seen when we was out there in Ferguson, Senator, and Brother Jim, you was out there with me, and Secretary,
Yeah.
you were too. That was the first thing. Y'all can say, this stuff y'all want to, but you're not going to get the focus off of what we're doing and why we're protesting. But whatever somebody else doing, y'all do that over there.
Absolutely.
That's what y'all will do. Because they don't want us to protest anyway. See,
That's
so they want any excuse to come back and
Absolutely.
stop what you're doing.
But the whole world protested George Floyd's murder,
Right.
not just here in the United States, not just these United
Right.
States. You had protests all over the
All
world
over.
because it was such an egregious, inhumane
Ain't no
act.
secret.
And so, and that's where we all have to come together, regardless of our cultural or our differences. Your skin color has nothing to do with right and wrong and inhumane acts. And that was an inhumane act. And it doesn't matter what position you're in, whether you're a police officer, politician, nurse, doctor, everybody knows right from wrong. Wrong is wrong. And, accountability is what has to happen. And it's sad, though, we have to go and get them. I keep saying that. I'm on the ground in this community. I can reach only so many. But if everybody, come on, get together
share.
on your block and
Everybody
find
gotta
out
do
the
a share.
children, the young people on your block, and figure out what resources we can get and to steer some pathways and some directions toward positive things. If, like, I met this young man, he said he had to drop out of college because he couldn't afford to pay it anymore, and his student loan went into default. Well, we got him a job. You got me? And I told him I'm going to show you how to get them out of default. You get a income-driven repayment plan, get them out of default, and then you can go back to school once they're out of default. And you can still finish, I told him. You got a year and a half, you can still finish. So these are the things that we have to go get them. Everybody has to give back.
Yes.
So, and that's the key. So we got to go get them, because if we don't go get them, you got 26-year-olds who's shooting 77-year-olds.
Well, I'm
You
glad
would
Brother
say
Jim
reach
said-
one, teach one.
Yeah. So
Well,
we're
that's
going
a-
to go to a break and what?
We got about 30 seconds here, but that was
Yeah.
a great segue
Right.
because
It'll set the tone for what we're going to do with Home G. Phillips and Brother Jim. You can tie in back into what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Because you tie into that so well. So what we're going to do,
Absolutely.
we got to go to a break. So, Senator, I know you and Sister, y'all going to take it over with me, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. We got
You
10
are
seconds.
listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr.
And,
Show.
and
on Hallelujah 1600 KATZ.
Keep it on lock. Stop
Keep it
playing.
on lock and stop playing.
So thank you, brothers and sisters. We're on break.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back, St. Louis. Welcome back to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on Hallelujah 1600. Well, we have some guests in the studio with us, and we're going to continue our conversations. We have some people that joined us this morning. We have Miss Yvonne Jones and Miss Zenobia Thompson that joins us this morning. So, ladies, I'm going to just jump right in, so that we can talk about, this issue that you have been fighting and that you have been battling. So I know most people don't know the history of Homer G. Phillips.
Yes.
So I want, either one of you can start by telling us, what brought you into this. I think it's a fight.
It's a fight.
Speak right into that mic for me, both of you.
Well, I'm Zenobia Thompson. I'm co-chair of the Change the Name Coalition. This morning, I want to introduce to the audience and everyone Ms. Yvonne Jones, who is the president of the Homer G. Phillips Nursing Alumni Incorporated, okay? And Ms. Jones will be so happy to tell us about the lawsuit that the Homer G. Phillips Nursing Alumni has filed in federal courts last Monday. Go ahead.
As you know, Homer G. Phillips is located 2601 North Whittier. The hospital was opened 1937, and it closed in 1979. It is now a senior citizen building under the name of Homer G. Phillips. There is a building on Jefferson and Thomas with the name of Homer G. Phillips Hospital on it. It is it's supposed to be a three-bed acute care hospital, which is not open as of yet. Homer G. Phillips Hospital was not a three-bed. It was a 600-bed hospital, and it serviced all people, men, women, and children. The Homer G. Phillips Nurses Alumni Incorporated are against the name of his name being on that building on Jefferson. So we filed a federal lawsuit asking them to take the name off of that hospital. The reason why, Homer G. Phillips is noted at the History Museum in Forest Park. It's noted at the George B. Vashon History Museum in St. Louis Avenue, and it's also noted in the History Museum at Washington, D.C. And the note is that it's 2601 North Whittier, not Jefferson. Also, Homer G. Phillips, there are a DVD out called The Color of Medicine, the story of Homer G. Phillips. There's a book that just came out called Climbing the Ladder, Chasing the Dream, the story of Homer G. Phillips. So let Homer G. Phillips stay in the Ville area, which is also noted to have the Annie Malone Children's Home and the Sumner High School, which is the first black high school this south of the Mississippi.
Right. So you're saying basically that Homer G. Phillips Hospital in itself
Yes.
has a history that's already codified in history.
Yes.
Yes.
And basically to, I don't know what you would call it then. Is it they're not resurrecting it because it was already historically known. And so it's already historically known in the museum
Right.
and historically known, at universities. And it has a film about
Right.
the hospital and its history.
Yes.
So what is the other side saying?
The other side has refused to meet with us concerning taking the name off, and I'll let Zenobia address that because she's is the first person that started trying to talk to him about this.
She's a historian.
Yes.
I'm just a
You're a historian.
fighter for what's right, for justice,
Yes,
for
ma'am.
equality, and for black liberation.
ma'am.
It was about 2 years ago or so that there was a sign on a fence on Jefferson saying, the future, a hospital coming, Homer G. Phillips. And another fellow, Homer G. Phillips, nursing alumni, called me and said, what's this about them building a hospital called Homer G. Phillips? Well, I said, I don't know anything about it, but I began to dig and research and investigate and found out that developer Paul McKee was planning to build so-called a Homer G. Phillips building and put Homer G. Phillips on it. Well, we opposed that. We let him know that. We wrote him a letter back in January of 2020, letting him know that, the name Homer G. Phillips should not be trivialized, and commercialized, for their benefit. Homer G. Phillips' name was very sacred to us. It was historic, it was iconic. Homer G. And just as Yvonne was saying, the history of Homer G. Phillips. Well, he ignored the black community and proceeded to build this hospital, so-called hospital, which is a 3-bed clinic, okay, private clinic at that. And when we noticed this building bearing the name Homer G. Phillips Hospital last year in the summer, we immediately got together with other community activists, community leaders, civic leaders, preachers, to organize and mobilize our community to demand that Paul McKee remove the name Homer G. Phillips off of the building. Back in October, there was a city hearing asking Paul McKee to attend and explain and talk about the concerns that the citizens had regarding that name. Over 150 citizens attended. Recently, not long ago, Alderwoman Sharon Tice introduced a resolution 138 calling for Paul McKee to change the name and made it very clear, as Yvonne has said before, we are not against the health care that they're talking about. We're talking about
The name.
removing the name Homer G. Phillips.
Well, I want to jump in just for a minute too, because this is so important to us as a people. I used to go to that hospital. Brother Juma Muhammad, who's sitting beside me, just said he was born at that hospital. And that hospital meant so much to us, but it's the disrespect that I've seen, because what you didn't say is that when y'all had 150 people, the mayor was there. They asked him to come. And never before have somebody just totally disrespected a mayor like that. Congressman Corey Bush has reached out to them. Not only that, y'all went out there, you and Brother Wale and somebody else, y'all went out to his office to personally take him the letter and everything. So it's not like you're not trying to reach out and work with him. At the same time, all you're saying is that name, you can't use that name there. Let's respect us just like you do any other community. And that's what it showed over and over again. Didn't you say you was born at that hospital, Brother Jimmy?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. A hospital has historical significance, not only for me, but for many. So just the name Homer G. Phillips is a prestigious name. It's world-renowned, international, and should be respected.
Yeah. And now, should it be respected? But as an elder in the community, I feel it is our responsibility, our obligation, our duties to leave the correct legacy, preserve our legacy for generations to come. What Paul McKee has done by putting that name Homer G. Phillips on that building does not reflect the correct African American history that we know that we want to pass on to generations following us.
I think about all the things that I've heard you say, how proud y'all were to get to that hospital, because, you felt good about being a nurse there and being the doctors, how proud they felt, and how doctors came from all over the world to be trained there at that hospital. And to take it from 600 beds to somebody saying 3 beds, that's the ultimate disrespect to a community.
And sister, you correct me if I'm wrong. Homer G. Phillips was a world-class institution
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
that taught and trained doctors all over the world.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Homer G. Phillips was a lawyer by trade.
Yes.
Who really fought for the creation of that hospital. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he was assassinated.
Right. So
before
he didn't
the
live to
hospital
see
was,
it.
Under
was
mysterious
built.
circumstances.
Yes, right, and it's never
that's
been
his
solved.
legacy.
His murder
That's his
has never
legacy.
been
Am I right,
solved.
too, that he raised $1 million back in that day?
Well, a bond issue was passed.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, yes,
A bond issue was passed
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
early 20s, and it really took a while for them to really, the politicians in those days, to take that bond issue money and erect a hospital. In fact, they wanted to have the black hospital next to the white hospital, and folks were, opposed, and he opposed that before he was killed. So it was a long struggle. Homer G. Phillips came about from a long struggle and existed, in struggle. It wasn't, we didn't always, because as a graduate of Homer G. Phillips Nursing School, I know that we did the best with what we had. We did not have the quality equipment, supplies that City Hospital have. And in the book that Candace Owens has written called Climbing the Ladder and Chasing the Dream, she reflects many of those stories, how Dr. Nash insisted, in regards to, services and equipment for the babies at that time. So it was, and in spite of that, the most brilliant and intellectual folks did the wonderful, marvelous jobs, of saving lives and preserving health and teaching health. It wasn't just nurses and doctors. There were X-ray technicians, library technicians.
Lab
It wa-
technician.
Lab
Yeah.
technician, yes.
Yeah.
It was
So-
the core of the community. It was the heartbeat of the community, and it was referred to in many instances as the jewel of the community.
So, sister, if I'm hearing you correctly, we're talking about the defamation of his name, Homer G. Phillips, and what he stood for, and we're also talking about infringement
Infringement.
that Paul McKee is attempting to do. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, by the Homer G. Phillips nursing alumni having the wisdom to get a trademark their name, the Homer G. Phillips nursing alumni, makes it very, very much so that Paul McKee is infringing upon their trademark.
Can I jump in, Brother Shahid? I'm not sure how much time we have. Is there anything that the community can do, sister, to get behind this struggle? You've given us powerful information, and just tell me and others, the community,
Okay.
what can we do to support this initiative and get behind it?
I'm glad
I know
you
there's
asked-
strength in numbers.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
glad you asked that because I was going to, ask to make room for that. The Change the Name Coalition has been in existence for a little while. We are overjoyed and happy to support the Homer G. Phillips Nursing Alumni Incorporated lawsuit. We support that 1,000%. But in addition to that phase of the struggle, we have ongoing struggling to organize and mobilize our folks to keep the pressure on Paul McKee that we want that name down. Every first and third Saturday of the month, weather permitting, we are rallying and demonstrating at this building that bears the name Homer G. Phillips. And that's at Jefferson and Cass from 12 to 1 on the first and third Saturdays of the month, weather permitting. I'm talking about if it's raining or pouring down, other things, and also the heat. If it's really, really hot, we're going to ask that, our senior citizens, not come out because that heat is really terrifying. So weather permitting, on the first and third Saturdays of the month, we will be in front of that building demonstrating and picketing, demanding that Paul McKee change the name. We also have a petition that we've been circulating calling for Paul McKee to change the name. And we meet, the Change the Name Coalition meets each Thursday at Miss Ollie Stewart's Southside Wellness Center. Let me say hello to Miss Ollie Stewart.
listening. You can
she's
take that to the-
fan. She's my
Hey,
mentor.
she listening. You can take that one to the bank.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's at 3017 Park on Thursdays at 3. We meet every Thursday. So the struggle, continues. And again, I cannot emphasize enough how supportive we are of the lawsuit that the Homer G. Phillips Nursing Alumni has filed in federal court. We are just 1,000% behind and stand with them.
Absolutely. So I know this is a historical precedent that you guys have taken on, but two, a lot of young people, now don't know the significance of what's happening, and I can say that when I was young, I was, there, when the struggle was happening. I remember carrying picket signs. I remember the T-shirts we wore when we were younger. I remember the anguish from the closing of the hospital, the anger and the frustration. It was amazing, and I remember thousands of people in that park when I was a kid. There was so many people, and we were marching and holding up signs. It was just, it was Amazing.
I remember you too. You was a little girl. You was a
Yes.
little cute
You're
girl
in the
too.
That's
Senate-
right.
She wasn't a senator then.
That's
a
right.
senator
Okay.
to become.
Her mom, if I may say, Perry May,
Yes.
was there on the battleground with us, and her daughter, who is now a senator, was a little cute girl, and she would be carrying a sign, and just right along with us. So she's very familiar with that struggle. I have some of those items in my archives.
Yeah. And I remember, is there anything that young people can get right now, like a book, or can we access that film? That The Color of Medicine was a phenomenal film that was done. So is there, right now, is there any way we can access that so that young people can know the story and the history?
Well, I'll take this opportunity to enlighten folks about the climbing the ladder and chasing the dream. The history of Homer G. Phillips Hospital, and the author is Candace O'Connor. And she started this about 3 or 4 years ago, wasn't it? It's been some time when she came to Homer G. Phillips Nursing Alumni meeting to say that she was beginning a book about Homer G. Phillips. And she interviewed, she says 100 people, but I think it's like 1,000. Because she interviewed folks from way back on physicians, nurses. I think she talked to just about everybody in the Homer G. Phillips Nursing Alumni, and stories that they had, and made it so not only academic,
Yes.
but the brilliance of the doctors that worked. They were world renowned. But she not only reflected that, but she also did it in a human way. Told you stories about how it was. I remember mentioning to her how Dr. Mitchell, who was a renowned surgeon, how he would go, get ready to go in the operating room, be scrubbing, said, "We're getting ready to go in here and cheat the Grim Reaper."
Yes.
Just so many stories that she interwoven
That's
into
beautiful.
this academic kind of history, and that reflects so very positive and constructive about Homer G. Phillips in a real time way, that I recommend, folks picking this book up at their bookstore.
And the DVD is also on Amazon. Color
Awesome.
of Medicine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can
so
get it
the
I think it's
DVD.
$19.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So I would encourage, people to get that DVD, about the color of medicine, and also to buy this book because it would enlighten you. And because I'm definitely buying the book, and I was at the premiere of The Color of Medicine.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we showed it at the Better Family Life Cultural
Yeah.
Center.
And it was crowded.
And it was crowded. I mean, it was standing room only.
Right.
But it was phenomenal. And, those of us, like I said, the changing guard, the significance, knowing about that struggle and that fight,
Senator,
back then.
I want to make sure we give, is it a telephone number we can give out to? Because I got the first and the third Saturday, we protesting weather permits. I got that there. I got what you said, petitions. I got on Thursday with Miss Ollie Stewart, Southside Wellness Center at 3017 Park. But are there any telephone numbers or any numbers that you want to give
Well,
out?
Well, I can give out my number as one of the organizers and co-chairs, and working with folks in the
ma'am.
Change the Name Coalition. And that number is 314-381-3301. And I'd just like to add, in closing, besides just honoring the name of Homer G. Phillips, the person and the institution, it's also very important to reflect, how racist this is. Absolutely. I mean, the community has come and said in so many ways that we do not want this, and that here this Paul McKee continues to do what he wants to do. To me, that's like the slave master telling the slave, "This is what you're gonna do."
And that's exactly how he feels.
So I really need to reflect that that's one aspect that really.
I want to get that number out again, 314-381-3301, 381-3301, Sister Zenobia.
Yes, and I would definitely encourage people to brush up on the history and the story. So we got to go to a break.
Already?
You have been listening to the Freeman Bosley
looking at me
Jr.
like
Show
that.
on KATZ. Hallelujah, 1600.
Keep
We
it
need
on.
we need you to say keep it on lock.
And stop playing.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much.
Good morning, St. Louis. Good morning. We're back with the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on Hallelujah 1600. That was an awesome segment, you know. The struggle continues, and that's the importance of, you know, protesting, because sometimes it brings attention to things that are happening.
And sometimes you have to protest. I think we didn't say this part before you bring Brother Jim on, is I remember when they was closing that place down. That's really how Shamos got in office 3 times. He came in promising he was going to open up that hospital.
Oh, don't tell me. I remember that, because I remember, I can tell you some stories.
Well, I know. But I think both of us can
Right.
tell a lot of stories about
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
And how, when they was going to really come in, how they brought the dogs in and
And
you
that
know,
was,
when
and I remember those helicopters
I remember
flying over.
that's-
I remember when people had chained themselves to the hospital, and they brought those paddy wagons and they arrested
never
them
forget that.
wrong people. Me either.
I'll never
And I was a
forget that.
kid, so you know it was
So
traumatic.
This building
and
is
so,
sentimental to me.
and then you talking about staring up social justice in a child. That's what started me
You're right.
on this,
You're
you
right.
know, social justice issue.
Yes, ma'am.
But but mine came from, trying to just offer resources to the community, because that's what I saw my mom do. It's like, we can't be stuck waiting on people to save our communities. We have the power and the intelligence to do it. You get me? Everybody is waiting on a savior, and you that person.
That sound like
that
brother.
person.
Brother
You
Juma
get
has
me?
a saying which ties right into him.
Right, you
Whenever
that
he
person.
whenever he texts you, Senator, when he closes out, if he's doing something, he say the leader that you're looking for is inside of you.
Absolutely.
So he says that on a
Absolutely.
regular basis.
Absolutely.
So, Brother Gentleman, you've been sitting here this morning. I want to now officially get ready to start trying to set the tone for you, because it's hard to set the tone for a man like you, a man who's been to Israel. Gentleman's traveled around the world. He ain't been on the Akbar level, but I mean, I said, ain't no sense in talking like that.
Not on that level.
But Brother Gentleman has did extensive traveling from Egypt, from Ghana,
everywhere.
well, I want to say a few of those places. Israel was big, China's big. Some of the places we've been together, not at the same time, but I mean, real monumental places. And he's always represented, even the way he looks this morning, brother. So for the ones that can't see him, I mean, he's always looking like Brother Juma Muhammad. So, Brother Juma, if you would jump in here with us and help us, because, we're talking about a lot of stuff. You know about the hospital deal. You know about what's happening with young people. You got your books. And then, I mean, you do so much in the community. For years, he toured probably every college it was in America. Brother Juma is one of the most sought-after psychiatrists and psychologists and authors around the world. I mean, he's high level. So to have him here this morning, we're honored. So, Brother Juma, can I throw it to you?
Absolutely. I want to give grace and honor to Almighty God, whom I call Allah. I say assalamu alaikum to the royal family, to the extended community. I pray to Almighty God that I can hopefully say something that will inspire and motivate the community. My name is Ajuma Muhammad. I am a psychologist by trade and a trauma specialist. I've been blessed to travel throughout the world. I specialize in working with black men and boys. And one of my major concerns right now is the amount of young men right now who are smoking marijuana. It's a real problem for our community, Brother Shaheed. Marijuana is what they call a gateway drug. And so many of our young people have socially accepted this form of expression. And so many of them, even on a daily basis, are smoking marijuana that is laced with fentanyl and what they call K2. So I get a number of calls almost every single day of young men who are depressed, who are committing suicide, who are involved in homicidal behaviors, who are just simply out of control. They experience what they call psychosis, manic depressive issues and concerns and challenges and behavior. And so it's a real, real problem. And in America, Brother Shaheed, this drug, smoking marijuana, has become normalized. It is normalized. It's a social form of expression. And even with the new drug laws and things like that are coming into existence right now, where smoking marijuana has become very palatable, it's very socially acceptable for our young people, I'm concerned.
Yeah, well,
Because medical clinics, hospitals are running over right now. If you're a clinician, psychologist, psychiatrist, your cup runneth over with new patients, new clients, because it's just out of control. It's socially acceptable. And let me just say this.
Yes.
I had taken my sister to New York several months ago, and I was in Times Square. And they had a mobile marijuana mobile that's parked all throughout Times Square, which is one of the most heavily visited places in the world.
They got what?
So you see marijuana trucks where they sell gummies and marijuana, and so it's a problem. It's a real problem, and I see it getting worse in the years to come.
Well, I just wanted to say you're absolutely correct. And the reason for that is because, I was just showing Brother Shaheed, it says the U.S. death toll for drug overdoses is rising fast among black and indigenous people. 44% among black people in 2020 compared to the year prior. And I'm on the out here in the community, and while we're out here, we're getting people connected to jobs. And I have young brothers who tell me, I'm not going to be able to do it because I smoke marijuana. And I had one gentleman that I had got a position, and he got let go because he was high. And he told me, he called me, I said, well, marijuana, you need to call marijuana, because it seems like you're more loyal to that than you want to work, and it's not putting any food on your table. So I don't understand the addiction. And you know what they told me? I'm telling you, 3 young men that I'm talking to on the street told me it helps numb the pain. I told them, well, we need to sit down and let's talk through the pain.
Absolutely. You know, the unfortunate thing is, Sister Carla, many of them just simply don't have positive self-confidence. They don't have the social skills to be able to navigate through life. Most of the time, they've been insulated by their parents who safeguarded them, and so they just don't have that personal self-confidence. So smoking marijuana is an easy out for them. Many of them can't handle stress. So the easy way to go, or the path of least resistance, is let me go get high. And they're doing it on a daily basis. And I get so many calls from parents who are absolutely heartbroken because they are appealing to their children, their sons particularly, saying, please stop, please stop. And these young boys are telling them they're going to stop, but every day they have a need to use marijuana, which is laced with fentanyl and K2 and other kind of things that are supplanted in those drugs, and it's deadly and it's devastating.
It is, because we had to start more drug trucks carrying Narcan, driving the Department of Health and Senior Services, just driving. And we had so many overdoses, we had to add more trucks driving around just in the St. Louis City region alone.
That's the
Because
crazy
people are ODing from fentanyl. And to me, I mean, at least somebody need to teach them how to grow their own so they'll know what's in it.
It's a real problem. Brother Shaheed, when you think about people overdosing, back in the day, if you think back in the paradigm reservoir of your mind, you would think of an older person that was ODing and overdosing. Now we have teenagers. Now we have young people in elementary school
Yes.
who are literally smoking weed on a regular daily basis, going to school, acting a complete fool.
Yes.
And I just see the residual effect that it's going to have on the community the next 15, 20 years. It's going to be unbelievable.
Well, it's because we got a hypocritical government, because now they've made it where it's legal. I don't care whether it's legal or illegal, it's killing us. But the mere fact, it's just about how they did with the prohibition with the liquor. How it wasn't no good at first, but then once they started making money, in this country here, it's always on money. They were, as we say, they were about dollar, not Allah. That's why I asked a certain questions. I was in a meeting early this week with some people, and I won't say who they were, and I said to them, because they was talking about all the money they're making on this legal marijuana.
That's right.
And I told them, in the Illinois area, they was telling me, and I won't say where they was at, I was at a tell-off food there, $2 billion that they were making. I just had this meeting, just this week. And I told them, I said, well, I'm on record. Y'all supposed to be religious leaders. Where y'all religious leaders come in at? You talk all this stuff, you talk about your scriptures. When do this stuff sink? When do you when do you come from that position? Mm-hmm. Because I told I said, I'm on record. I don't want nothing to do with none of this money y'all doing. If any of this money coming on that, make sure you clear, I'm on record. I ain't about that. I don't care how many billions of dollars y'all making, because what it's doing, I'm listening to y'all talk, I'm listening to what the senators showed me. We're losing our children, and I'm hearing what you're saying in 15 to 20 years, because they set the tone for things. What they do experimental things. And before you know it, after 3 years, 5 years, it's to the point where these people so offered to money, they'll have 5 and 6-year-old people smoking weed and marijuana, because I done seen these grown people doing it with their kids. And say as long as they do it with them, it's okay. I mean, it's really retarded.
And that's
They
the important thing, that we educate parents and we educate the community. It's education, it's prevention and recovery. Without those 3 together, then we're going to continue to have this problem. And as an educator, yes, we see it in the classroom.
Oh, yeah.
We see the youth arrive.
Brother Shaheed, the white business merchants, you got to call it for what it is, have found the legal way to make money on marijuana. And so you see legal dispensaries all over the black community. I'm sure the white community too, but black community definitely don't need them. But you have these legal drug dispensaries, businesses, and they have made it so difficult for anybody else, the average citizen, to want to go in business and sell marijuana and marijuana products.
Yes.
So they've monopolized it. And so it ties right back to what you just said. It's a money grab right now. And so you're going to see these dispensaries all over the place.
Yeah.
Kids are vaping now all over the place. They're smoking marijuana, which is socially and recreationally acceptable. So it's a problem, bro. It's a real problem.
And I know that it was some federal legislation that was going to come out that was banning vaping. But you know, another thing that's stark about this article that came out was that, you know, they categorized it. Younger black people, 15 to 24 years old, had the largest increase in overdose deaths at 86%. You get me? And so when I was listening to these young men, and they were talking about the pain. How do we, now me, I am a person that's, you know, get all in your business when I'm talking to young people. And they tell me a lot of stuff. You get me? A lot of stuff that's going on. They call me God Mama.
You are.
But what I'm saying is, you know, how do we empower the community to help them talk through some of this pain so that they can get beyond it? You know, it's like, how does a mother right now say, you know, son, come here, talk to me, let me help you through this pain? Because everybody, you know, insurance really doesn't pay for psychology services.
Absolutely. Let me just throw out a couple suggestions. Keep your children actively involved. Keep them involved in sports, swimming, activities, any kind of sports. A football coach, a basketball coach, a school teacher, all of them become powerful, valuable resources. Your minister, your imam in the community, all of them. And then, you know, if you don't have a child yourself, every child, every young person that you find becomes your surrogate child. Talk to them, give them insight, give them inspiration. One thing I failed to say earlier, just think about this community. This is real deep. Most of our community is traumatized for multiple reasons. We live in a racist, dog-dirty society where we are racially, what's the word I'm looking for?
Ostracized.
Profile. Thank you. That was the word I was looking
Yes.
for. We're racially profiled every day. So every day we have a heightened level of trauma and stress. And you deal with our past trauma. Now you add the marijuana piece. So now you have a walking zombie. You have a walking zombie on your hand.
Mental health piece
that can be triggered by anything and just go off. And the sad part about our community is imploding from the inside out, where we're destroying each other.
It is.
Absolutely destroying each other.
It
So
is.
mental health is real. Now, the
Yes.
beautiful thing is when you were talking about how do we get to our young people, as a clinician, I had to say that the black community is openly embracing mental health now.
Yes.
We realize that therapy is not just for crazy white folks, it's for crazy black folks and anybody who need help.
Absolutely.
And let me just say this, you don't have to be crazy. For anybody who's watching this broadcast, you don't have to be crazy. If you're human, you got an issue, including myself. We all have issues. And there's nothing wrong with reaching out, getting some support. It's certainly better than committing suicide or demonstrating homicidal behavior in our community. And we have that all too often.
Well, one of the things that I was able to do this legislative session was I passed a piece of legislation to have them to add mental health training to their healthcare curriculum in high school, because here the number of suicide had went up among our high school students. So I understood that they were dealing with something that they couldn't handle. And, you know, I was remembering today, for whatever reason, I was thinking back and I was thinking about some of the things that I went through, and I was saying, oh, Lord, I thank you that I'm not there anymore. But at the same time, this too shall pass, because when you're in that moment, it seems overwhelming. But just get through it and get beyond it, you're able to look back, you know, and and just thank God that he moved you past it and that you made it past it.
Think
And that
of-
it's a light on the other side.
Think about this, sister, and y'all let me know how much time we have. If you're born into the world and your mother is an addict, she's not there. The woman who was designated by God to provide you emotional stability, she's not there. Your father's not there because he was murdered, or he's incarcerated, or he's on drugs. So now you grew up in the foster care system, and you've been to 20 different foster homes. I've worked with kids that's been to over 25 different foster homes.
Show ain't lying.
Imagine your level, where you are emotionally. You don't trust anybody. Then you add drugs to the mix. That's laced with fentanyl and all that, those kinds of things. Then we have society. We live in a society where ignorance and bravo and aggression is celebrated. Okay, where young people can attack elderly people, and that's celebrated. You know, they catch us tripping, Shaheed. We OGs now. You know, and the young people want to beat us down. And we've been an advocate for the community. So we live in that society now where lawlessness and our young people are just off the chain.
Yeah.
It is. And it's a crisis. And we have to recognize the crisis. And we're going to have to help each other and lift each other up. And I always say, you know, don't judge people. You know, I take people where they are. And then add whatever good you have to add to them. Whatever good, whatever saying that can lift them up. That's what you do. Today, a matter of fact, the guy at the store
This morning.
helped me. Yes, today, this morning, you know, helped me. And all I was trying to do was get a case of water in the trunk of the
that's
car.
nice.
You
That's
get
nice.
me?
That's nice.
And then I gave him $5. He said, "You don't know how much you made my day."
wow.
He said, "You made
That's
my
good.
day." He said, "Thank you.
But
I
that's
really
you, though.
appreciate it." I told him, "But you made my day
Right.
because you
That's
helped
right.
me put this water in this car that I couldn't live."
Ain't that beautiful?
You get
Sister
me?
Carla, let me add something to what you just said. Brothers and sisters, if you're watching this broadcast this morning, remember, one man and one woman can make all the difference in the world. Why do I say that? There's a brother sitting right next to me, Brother Anthony Shaheed. Started the Taheed Youth Group for over 20 years. 50,000 young people came through that program that turned their life around. I started a program called the Association of African American Role Models. Same thing. One man, one woman can make all the difference in the world. Look at Better Family Life, what they've done for our community. So, brothers and sisters, the leader that you're looking for is right there inside of you.
Well, Jim, you got to get some of your information out. Not that you're going to leave, but I want you to. How can they find you so they can see the books? Because we only got a couple of minutes now. How can they find you, and where would they find you on social media?
Brother Shaheed, I'm going to take 30 seconds. This is one of the books. Google or put in Ajuma Muhammad. I'm going to spell my name. I'll go real slow. Ajuma. Ajuma. Ajuma Muhammad. You can find this book and so many other books. If you're looking for therapy, if you're looking for psychiatric help, if you're looking for family support, whatever the case may be, please reach out to me. You can find me. You can DM me, and I will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours, and I'll give you a point of direction. Please reach out.
Absolutely. So I'm definitely going to take your slogan. I hope you don't mind, because I'm going to put it on a piece of literature and I'm going to send it out that says the leader you're looking for is inside of
That's
you.
just saying.
You know, because I remember that song I used to love so much. I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I'm asking that person to make a change. So you know what I'm saying? So that's what we have to do. We have to go get our people. And I think that everybody has something to give. If you just embrace one young person and turn that young person around.
Yes.
Just imagine if one person was a surrogate for one other person. What an amazing story that would be. And another thing I'm going to point out.
Because we got to go to a break. He's sick.
Yes, I understand we got to go to a break, but it's not that time yet. You know. So, okay. Well, you're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. show on Hallelujah 1600.
Keep it on lock, stop
Keep it on
playing.
lock.
Thank you. It went off.
Good morning, St. Louis. Good morning. Welcome back to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on Hallelujah 1600. I have my sidekick over here, Brother Shaheed, who is, making me laugh.
I'm just sitting back taking it all in.
And I'm gonna let you bring it back in next time.
No, you got to bring it back out. You didn't want to close out when it was over with, so don't put it on me.
I was in the middle of a good, we were having a good discussion.
Yes, it was.
And it's a serious discussion. And it's one that we really can't end until we resolve the issue. And so, that's the thing. And when you care, oh my God, it causes some sleepless nights.
Yeah, it does.
So,
Well,
but
I'm glad
anyway.
you're in the position where you're at, because at least as a senator, you can bring some resources to it. It's one thing to have something that you want to do, but not in position to do it. And then it's another thing to have that passion that you have, and then be in position because of your history, the history of your mom, history of being around Sister Betty Thompson, being around Sister Ollie Stewart, and some of the other legends. And now Allah has blessed you from all of those ingredients there to be who you are now, to be able to bring,
Absolutely.
so all praise to
Absolutely.
Allah. So I'm excited this morning, because you already know why I'm excited. I'm smiling for 2 or 3 reasons. See, this way, when I sit up there and look at a certain person, then they look back, then it just kicks things off, because I'm so, I don't even know the word, I'm so in love with this family, or we're so in love with each other that they know whenever they call, whatever they doing, I ask the question, if it's important, I'm going to stop. But if it ain't important, y'all know I'm busy. But if you say stop. Mike don't have no problems. He say stop. I said, damn. It's like that. Is it like that, Brother Mike? He said, yes, sir, brother. He said, yes, sir, it's like that. So I'm honored this morning, Senator. You want to say Mike? I mean, I don't know how to say their name right. Help me say.
Absolutely. Well, we have in the studio with us Mike Brown, who is the father of, Mike Brown, who unfortunately
Yes.
and tragically, was murdered in Ferguson. And because of it, you guys have made a lot of progress in the issues of creating change. So we want to talk about
and if I
that
could
change.
just jump in for 1 second, we were just talking about George Floyd early. When that situation happened, and you were all right, it was 2020. Me and Mike flew down there. It was because of what Allah blessed him. When we talk about around the world for real, for 4.5 months, they never took nothing off of Ferguson. Ferguson was in the news every day, all day long, around the whole planet. It was not a place on the planet
Absolutely.
that you didn't know about this situation. Because people didn't even know where St. Louis was after a while. All they knew was Ferguson.
Absolutely.
So if you went somewhere and say, I'm from St. Louis, then we came to the conclusion as we traveled with Sister Cal, his beautiful wife who's here now, who's really the manager. When we went place, we just started saying Ferguson, because
Absolutely.
then they knew it was St. Louis. So
Absolutely.
good morning, Sister Cal,
Good
Sister Cal
morning.
and Brother Mike.
Good
morning.
I'm gonna flip it to whoever need to be flipped to, and I know it's probably her, because he got that look. When she look at me a certain way, it's that way. But I don't know how she flipped it back to Mike. So whoever gonna take the mic and show us all this, because it's getting close to that time again, which is not the time that we love dealing with, because we know what normally happen around with us. So I'm gonna flip it to you, Sister Cal, or whoever.
So we are 20 days away from August 9th.
Okay.
Remembering what happened that day, that pain and that situation lives with me. I wake up, I breathe it. When people say, "Oh man, what happened a long time ago?" Nah, I lived that. That's my life. So we built some good things around it this year. August 6th, I will be having a black ball. It will be at the airport, Marriott. It will start from, I think, 6 to 10. We have a special guest. I can't announce him right now. He's going to do his thing.
She said we can't.
I can't.
We
Well, I would definitely have David Banner in the building.
That's right.
This was not cheap. But it definitely will help fundraise like it need to be fundraised, so we can keep doing the work that we've been doing in the community. That 7th, which is August, I will be doing my choir show, my annual choir show that I do every year to bring in funds. These funds are used for my father's retreat. I take 30 to 50 fathers each year out of town somewhere for relaxation and some healing. No disrespect to the women, but they always get resources more than we do as men, you know. So the way that my program is set up is only set up for just us with that part of up under the foundation, which is chosen for change. We do have a women's group, you know. It is Mothers of an Angel. I'm sorry, but this particular thing or event is definitely just around the father, so I can fund the trip for each year. August 8th, the families that will be coming in town, which be national and local. It'll probably be almost 100 families from all over here in St. Louis, Missouri. I will be doing breakfast with them and meet and greet and spending time with them, you know, mothers and fathers and children. You know, we got some people from out of New York, we got some people out of New Orleans, we got people coming from all over, you know. And August 9th, it will be the usual program. We're going to shorten it this year because standing out there in Canfield, remembering and taking in everything that happened, it becomes a lot on my family. Usually around that time, it's in the hundreds with the index. Last year, you know, me and the wife didn't even know we had COVID. Plus, we was in that heat. She fainted, passed out. So we don't want no one getting sick. You know, we do have older people that wants to be out there and still think they still got that spunk. But when that heat hit them, it's nothing you can do about it. So we want to definitely have people out there cool and don't have it as long lasting as we've been having it. You know, and those are the programs for this year.
Come on, Sister Cal, jump on that. Well, you going to say something, Brother Jim?
Just real briefly, Assalamu alaikum to the Raw family over there. I pray that Almighty God, Allah, sorry for your loss, number one.
Thank you.
And there's no pain that anybody can understand not having undergone that experience. Nobody could ever understand that, and nobody should ever have to understand that. But I pray to Allah that He use each one of you all as a tool, a torchlight, for inspiration and motivation to help all of those out here who are struggling. You know, black men have the highest rate of prostate cancer. We suffer from stress and anxiety, racial profiling every day. It has us on the edge. And so what you all are doing are very, very liberating. So I encourage you just keep grinding, keep pushing. You may not even realize the difference that you're making. The fact that you bringing all these black men together, all these families together, the fact that you even addressing these issues and talking about them, you're putting something, it's like a ripple effect. You're putting something in motion that others are going to pick up the baton and start to do it in their respected areas. And I just thank Allah for you guys, and just keep doing what you're doing, please.
I appreciate that. You know, I want to say something on that. You know, a lot of people don't understand what that takes out of a man. You know, it almost break you. You know, you almost forget who you are, what you stand for, what are you here on this earth for. You know, when these things happen, and it's almost like everybody slap you in your face. They tell you that the sky is red and we know it's blue. You know, and they stand on it. It's red. We know it's blue. Nah, it's red. And it's sad that our system is set up like that. You know, it's been like that forever. You know, I call it the blue and the white code. You know, it's no brown, no brown in there. I'm laughing from not crying. You know, but my what I'm getting at is that I'm so happy I have the strength to try to pull these families and these fathers back to who they used to be, or making them who better men in a different aspect. You know, with the process of healing at the same time. You know, my wife could tell you, man, I was doing so much work and stuff like that, I forgot about my family. my family was hurting while I'm hurting. I didn't even know I was damaging my family and my other kids.
Yes.
They over there looking at me like, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
We over here. Focus is on what I thought was best to do, but didn't know I was doing so much harm to my own.
Yeah.
That looks up to me, that want to see me with a smile on my face, see daddy in a happy place, So while they're trying to do that and I'm focused and didn't really know that I was tuning out my family, I had to get myself together. The eye opener was Michael,
Yeah. Yeah.
speaking and checking me. That's my baby. She checks me, and she can do that.
Oh.
But she got me straight, and
Oh-wee.
I had to realize that, we are all in this fight together. It's just not just me, and I had to realize that, it's people that love me, when I thought it wasn't no one that cared, and that's sad. It does a whole lot to your mindset, when someone does that to your family. But, I just want to say that and put that out there,
But I'm glad you said that. Me and Mike have traveled around the world together. We've been as far as Iraq together. I mean, we've traveled. I've been with this family. This is the only time I think. Well, I missed maybe 2 of the retreats. I didn't make it this year, and maybe it was another year. But what they've did, brothers and sisters out here in radio land and TV land, they put the family first, other families first. I sit there and saw it. I've been in that house with them more than other than their mother. I don't think nobody's been around them as much as me. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
And what I've got a chance to observe is that even what y'all did with Uncle Bobby and them with the 300 families, y'all brought 300 families together. See, it's one thing to tell you bring in one family, 10 families, but you don't know what it takes to bring 300 families together. And I sit there and watched all this stuff. That's why this year was kind of hard on me. And that's why, I think I told you, Sister Carol, I said, if y'all tell me to come, because you asked me 2 or 3, you said, Shy, you not coming? I say, I'm trying to work through this too, because it's pressure. What they don't see is what the kind of work Brother Juma do when they're in them rooms with them counselors in there. This is what people don't see. They don't have a clue what them fathers going through. And I won't say the one name. Any day now, he going to snap. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
Yeah, he gonna see, and this is what they don't get a chance to see with these fathers. So, in the mere fact that y'all have taken these fathers, everybody, but especially these fathers, that they try to give impression that we don't love our children. That we just some deadbeat dads. That we welfare, we on drugs and all that. To have fathers that's much in love with their children, and not to have their children. That's why I used to get smart with them white folks when they asked how they doing. I said, no, I'm going to answer that question. They ain't doing damn good at all. They ain't got their damn son. Ask me the next damn question. Don't ask them the question. Ask me the damn questions. Don't keep asking them how they feel. They don't have their son. Why don't you think about what you're saying to them? So I'm just thankful to Allah that y'all never called times out, and you helped so many families. That's what they don't know. They don't know how you. This is what I've seen them do. I didn't do it. I'm just being honest with you, Senator. They drove 18 hours to deal with families that nobody even know. They wasn't no world-named families. I've seen them do that. And I tell them, I said, I'll fly with y'all, but Brush out here can't go no further in Chicago. I can't go to Chicago by myself. Am I lying, Mike? He talked that old stuff. Mike and them hop on their car and take all their kids. That's why they were saying the stuff that they saying, like, y'all just putting us in all this stuff, and then to be out there on the 9th to see what it do to your family. I'm so thankful to Allah that you have cut it short, because that's another part they don't see.
Yeah.
They absolutely don't see what those little brothers and sisters, what Mike Brown Jr. brothers and sisters go through, while everybody else just saying a name, that they're talking about their blood brother. That's heavy to me.
But also, too, what affects families and what's affecting African American communities is not getting justice.
You said a mouthful now.
And so that's key. It amazes me how they look through history and you see all of this stuff going on. There's no statute of limitations on murder.
You're right, sister.
And so that's the key too, when you're talking about pain. We did for adolescents that have experienced trauma and pain, we did a partnership with a pilot program here with the Missouri Foundation of Health, the Department of Mental Health, and Hopewell. We did a $1.5 million grant just to deal with these individuals who've experienced trauma, young people who are just being not responsive in the classroom because they've seen gun violence, they've seen the trauma.
It's real. Sister Carol, you ain't jumped in at all. Come on, Sister Carol. You know, when Sister Carol speak, everybody listen. She's the brain behind. I mean, all is brain, but she is the brains behind everything that we do. It's Sister Carol. We got this little smile we do to each other.
Right. I guess I could reiterate on the events that we have coming up.
Yes, ma'am.
The Black Ball, August 6th. Thank you. The Black Ball, August 6th. The Black Ball is dedicated to the Ferguson front line. We're going to honor about 35 activists this year. We'll be announcing the names in the coming days. I thought about dedicating it to them because there were a lot of people out there who lost their livelihood, who lost their homes, lost their jobs, lost their relationships. And it's like people done forgot about them now and what they did. They're the main reason that Mike has the legacy that he has now. They put Ferguson on the map. So we always want to make sure that we circle back around and thank those who made the choice to stand up for Mike. So that is August 6th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Airport Marriott. We will have an art auction, a 360 booth, a live band, and we just gonna celebrate Black people, Black love, Black everything. The tickets are $80 for an individual. You get a 8th year memorial shirt and a bracelet. The tables are $1,000. They seat 10. Each person at the table will receive a memorial shirt, a bracelet, and a subscription to our monthly newsletter that will start in November.
Ain't nobody put stuff together like Sister Cal. She know I keep looking. Sometimes we
right.
used to get up in the mornings at what? 7,
Hours,
8,
6, 7 o'clock in the
and
morning.
we'd be on the phone distracted, but it was always her coming up with these. I mean, and they just run off her head. Go ahead.
Got 5 minutes.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Brother Jim, you was going to say something too.
Wow.
Speaking of Mike.
Yes, sir. Just so many things I want to say. You know, Sister Carl, I think you was talking about.
Senator, you can.
I'm sorry.
He's fine.
No, this is the senator here on this show.
She was talking about how justice never seems to be served, and I can only think that a lot of Black families that have been victimized by white brutality. In the clinical world, we have a term called internalized hopelessness, where you've suffered so many losses that you don't believe that you could ever gain justice or you could ever win. And we look at how the racial disparity and how racist this society is, that when it's clear that this Black child was gunned down and killed, and yet this white officer is exonerated. And you never see justice, and Trayvon Martin and just so many others.
Right.
We internalize a sense of hopelessness at a certain point. We don't ever think we're going to win, regardless of the facts, regardless of what the facts say. And that's very hurtful. You know, so you're talking about a community that's traumatized. We're all traumatized. Every day we're rolling the dice. We never know what to expect. If we pulled over for a simple traffic violation, the young brother who was just shot at 90 times and hit 60 times, I forget his name,
Jalen Walker.
Jalen
that's
Walker.
right.
A simple traffic violation. You know, and there's so many of them, I don't even want to start naming them, that's hurtful.
Very.
You know, so just the mental anguish that we had to endure and undergo every single day, that's trauma, man. That's trauma.
Yes, sir.
Taking years off our life. So our reality is completely different from the rest of the world.
Yes.
And that's why therapy is so important. Grief therapy, reality therapy, just therapy, period. We all need it. You know, so I just want to put that out there. Anyone who's looking for therapeutic help, support, you can reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook, Juma Muhammad. This is what I do. I have a team of clinicians. Many of us will do what they call pro bono, which is free work. We just want to be able to assist our community because we know our community needs it.
Yeah. Jim has been doing this for 35 years. I mean, he charge everybody, but I just call him all day long because whoever I say he can't charge. So I'm thankful to Allah for that. But Mike, come on, get some information out, even though you're going to help us with close out the last segment too, please. But come on, if they want to reach out, you want to talk about Chosen for Change, chosen fathers, mothers.
If you'd like to be a part of Mothers of an Angel or Chosen Fathers, you can reach out to us at chosenforchangefund@gmail.com or the michaelbrownfoundation.org, or you can just call us at 314-885-0607.
I think I know that number for somewhere.
Right.
Praise due to Allah. And I think it was deep how you kind of summed it up, Brother Juma, because like you said, you don't have to be mentally a person that, when they used to say need to talk to somebody, you had to be mentally crazy. It ain't none of us that don't need to talk to somebody about some of the things that's going on in
That's
our
right.
life.
You
So
have some tough
we
challenges.
really do. So
And,
I'm thankful that you there they put some money. So it's one thing to be talking, but if you ain't got some money behind the wood, then the game can't go. Good.
Absolutely. We make sure that agencies that are, helping in the communities are funded to do that work. And so that's really crucial role that we can play in this position because, I said that it's going to take all of us to save our communities.
Brothers and sisters, I know we have a very short period of time. Just remember, it takes a village to raise a child. If you're retired, adopt a child. Be a mentor. Be a role model. Get involved some kind of way, in some capacity. Each one of us, if we just did a little bit, it would go a long way.
Time for that break, my sister.
Absolutely. You are,
Listen to go ahead.
wait a minute, wait. See, he want to take it over
No.
from you. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ. Hallelujah,
Keep it on lock.
1600.
Keep it on lock.
And quit playing.
Quit playing. You want and stop playing. See, you trying to be nice on the radio, but when we
Good morning, St. Louis. Welcome back to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on Hallelujah 1600. We're still in the studio in our little final remarks. We have had a wonderful conversation
It really has.
going this time.
It really has been.
It has been.
We covered the Homer G. Phillip piece.
We did. We covered about Homer G. Phillips Hospital, and we definitely talked a lot about, what's going on with our youth.
Mental health, Brother Juma. I think you covered that,
Absolutely. Mental health is real. It's very serious.
And so we're going to have to talk about how you can help me write some more legislation in reference to how we make mental health, not be a stigma, and are some programs we can implement on the ground into all of the things that we do. You get me? We got to
Absolutely.
make it intrinsic inside of all of these programmings that we do, and we need to really do that. I always say, my community is still experiencing the residual residues of racism. And it's and just recently, I'm going to say this real quick. I don't know if anybody was watching. I think it was like some kind of theme park. It might have been it's a replica of Disney theme park where, they were talking about how two little African-American girls was trying to get the attention of the theme park, the person dressed like
Yes, ma'am.
costume, and they shunned the girls, and then they found out that it happened so many more times because when they started putting it out on Facebook, all of these other people who had been at the park told their stories. So we're still,
real.
it's real. And
There's a saying that racism never takes a day off. And you're
Right.
looking for our people who are looking to be equally integrated in this society and to be reminded at every turn that you're a second-class citizen or that you're unwelcome is very hurting emotionally, socially, and psychologically. So it's very problematic.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, St. Louis, we have been talking about a lot, so I'm going to get to some politics.
That's what you do.
Well, I consider myself a community person. So we have some special elections coming up, but mainly we have August the 2nd, which is our primary election coming up. We need all of you at the polls. It's like what we got, 1 week, basically 1 week away, 1 week and a couple of days away. So we need everybody at the polls to vote. You have all of your state rep seats up this time. There is new lines are drawn. So people are trying to get out and speak to the new people in their districts. You have a special election that's also going to be on that August 2nd ballot, which is the 21st Ward election. And I'm the chair of the Democratic Central Committee, and we nominated Laura Keyes for that election as the Democratic nominee. And then after that, we have some other special elections that'll be coming up before the November 8th general election. And so, we got some other people running, but I also want to say that we have Norma Walker, who is running in the 22nd Ward, the Democratic Central Committee. We nominated her for the August 23rd election. She'll be running for the 22nd Ward. So the 22nd Ward people, you probably need to get out. I know they're talking about the new wards, but you know where you are. And we have the President of the Board of Aldermen special election, which is going to be on September the 13th. And I think now we have 3 candidates in that election. At first, it was just 2, so you better get to your news and read the paper because I think it's a new candidate that has gotten into that race.
September the what?
That's September the 13th is when you have the President of the Board of Aldermen race. So I'm going to say it all again, and then I'm going to tell you about me and some people that I'm endorsing.
Okay.
So you got the President of the Board of Aldermen's race, which is on September the 13th. We have a special election for the 22nd Ward. That's on August the 23rd. And we have August the 2nd is the primary election for everything. You got your U.S. Senate is going to be in that race. So everybody needs to start looking out for the U.S. Senate. It's a lot of people in that race. You have your congressional race for the 1st Congressional District. So that's another race that's out there that's competitive. People need to start looking at that race. Make sure you're read up. Make sure you know where you're supposed to vote at. They've changed some voting places because new lines have drawn. So call the Board of Elections. What's that? 314-622-4336. I think that's that number. But call your Board of Election, either St. Louis County or St. Louis City Board of Elections. And what else I was getting ready to say? Also on the August primary ballot.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, what was you getting ready to say?
I'm going to talk about you, but go ahead.
Right, I am running for re-election. So, you know, I want you to go all the way with
I'm rolling
Paula
with-
May.
Well, see, I don't
you
have
know?
to. I'm speaking for Brother Shaheed. I know which way I'm rolling.
Right, so listen, I am also looking for poll workers. So if you would like to work the polls on election day, you need to give me a call. And my number is 314-749-9985. If you want to work the polls on election day,
that's your number.
give me a call. I'm also supporting Wiley Price. He's running for the 84th District State Rep seat. And I'm also supporting Steve Butts. We got to send them back. They're in the House. We have to maintain control of our, you know, we don't have total control, but we got to keep all the Democrats because term limits are here. And, you know, 8 years is a short period of time. And it takes a while to acquire the knowledge and build the relationships in order to work as a team in the electorate. So that's what I got to say about politics. What do you have to say about politics
Well, I'm rolling
today?
with you because what office? You said you were over at some committee. Say that. Would you say it one more time for
I'm
us?
chair of the St. Louis City Democratic Central Committee.
That's one. Give me
Yes.
another hat. You're a standing senator right now.
Oh yeah, I'm a state senator right now.
And then you something else. You're a committee. What else are you?
I'm a committee woman
Well,
too
come on,
of the 26th
don't be
ward,
playing with me like
which is going to be the 10th ward
Okay,
when the
that's right.
lines would be withdrawn. But
that's
I
what I
am the
got
committee
confused. Okay,
person
that's
for that ward, the committee woman.
Well, we
Yes.
we thankful
We
that
say woman or wombed man.
yeah, a womb of mine because
Did you know
everybody
what
got to
that
come
means?
through
See,
you.
People don't know what woman mean. It means wombed man.
That's right.
We'll talk about the what they call it.
Esoterica.
Yeah, on that word.
I want to give a shout out to a young lady that I read about earlier today, this morning. Her name was Alina Wickers. She's 13 years old, Brother Gentleman Senator, and she's making history because Miss Wicker recently became the youngest person ever to accept medical school, into a medical school. She posted, when was it?
2 minutes.
Okay. She posted her letters, and I think she got 18,000 followers right now on Instagram. And I think that happened back on the 30th of June. But that's powerful to have someone that's 13 years old to be inducted to medical school. So I'm always happy about that. Brother Jimmy, we want to get that number out for Jimmy because you're always talking on Jimmy and you introduced them. Is that number 314? You want to help me get that number out? We got about a minute left.
Yes,
On
sir.
Fridays at 12 noon, they get a chance to hear you, really see what you do, bringing the community together, and how you bring so many people in the community together. I believe it's 617. You want to give it out?
Absolutely, Brother Shaheed. That number is 667-770-1476.
A little too fast to say it again.
Absolutely. 667-770-1476. That's our prayer line. And Brother Shaheed, you want to give the PIN number?
That PIN number is 196854. Tic-tac-toe pounds, 196854 pounds. We got 1 minute to wrap up this beautiful show. Mayor Bosley has been on special assignment, and thankful to the senator, and thanks for Set. Came in today and with flying colors and took care of us as engineer, so we want to be thankful for that.
Absolutely, we really
Great job.
appreciate it.
Great job. Came right in flying
Absolutely.
colors. Only had 3 or 4 weeks to be here to kind of see what they were doing, and came on in and handled his business.
So what happened to your list of African American businesses that you
Well,
that you used to bring in?
I
with
used to
you?
bring. I still got them, but in these last 30 seconds, I ain't gonna be able to get it out.
You got more than 30 seconds.
No,
We got 5 minutes.
Is that what you tell me? No.
Nah.
No, okay. Well, I'm going to let you take the 5 minutes because we're going to be gone in about 20 seconds now. So we want to appreciate y'all listening. Senator, you got to help us close it out in 9 seconds, 8 seconds.
Well, definitely. You have been listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on Hallelujah 1600. Keep it on lock, and we'll see you next Saturday.
Stop playing. Great show. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for being patient with us. You get a chance to listen to us Saturday from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock.